This is your everyday English class.
Hello! Welcome to English Cactus. My name is Anna.
And my name is Brian. This podcast will help you practice your English in a fun and natural way, improving your listening skills.
Before we start, here's a challenge. Stay with us until the end of this episode. Just 20 minutes that can change the way you use English every day.
Because today, we'll fix those small mistakes that block your confidence, like much versus many, few versus little, since versus for, and more. When you watch until the end, these rules will finally feel easy.
Grab your coffee, relax, and enjoy real English practice. Listening to a complete episode trains your ear, your focus, and your fluency.
Tell us in the comments where you're from. We love to see our community around the world.
And don't forget to subscribe. It's free and it helps us bring you new lessons every week.
Today's topic, much or many, and other tiny mistakes that make a big difference.
Stay with us to the end because we'll give you quick rules, real examples, and easy phrases you can use today.
Let's begin.
Marco, can I sit with you for a moment? My brain is melting from English grammar again. I need your help before I lose my mind for real this time.
Of course, Nina. Sit down, breathe, and tell me what English rule attacked you today. I'm ready for round 47 of English versus Nina.
Honestly, that feels accurate. So, it's much and many again. I swear, every week I think I've mastered it, and then I open my mouth, forget everything, and produce chaos.
That's normal. English has simple rules that suddenly act complicated when you speak fast. But let's go step by step.
Okay, well, I know the rule. Many is for countable nouns, much is for uncountable nouns. But when I'm talking, I don't have time to think, is this noun countable? Is this liquid? Is it abstract? What am I doing with my life?
You really overthink it. But you're right. In real conversation, your brain doesn't have time to open a grammar book. That's why we need patterns, not rules. Think in examples, not definitions.
Patterns? Explain, please. My brain likes patterns.
For countables, think many people, many ideas, many books, many reasons, many questions. For uncountables, much time, much water, much homework, much money, much sugar. Just memorize these anchor combinations.
But here's what confuses me. Sometimes I hear native speakers say things like, so much people, so much friends, or how much minutes do we have? And then I panic and think, wait, maybe I learned the wrong rule?
No, you learned the correct rule. Native speakers are not perfect. They mix things when speaking fast, especially in casual conversations. But the correct rule is still what you learned.
So I shouldn't copy everything I hear?
Exactly. Copy clear English, not rushed or sloppy English.
Good, because I was about to delete everything from my brain and restart my life.
Don't reboot your brain yet. You're learning very well. Let's practice with examples. Ready?
Throw the grammar at me.
Okay. There are blank reasons to study English.
Many reasons.
I don't have blank energy today.
Much energy.
How blank apples do we need?
How many apples?
Perfect. Now something harder. I didn't see blank progress last month.
Much progress?
Correct. Progress is uncountable, so we use much.
Wow, I always thought progresses existed.
Nope. English hates pluralizing abstract concepts.
English hates everything.
Sometimes, yes.
Can we move to few and little? Because my brain always confuses them.
Sure. Same logic. Few equals countable, little equals uncountable.
So, few friends, few ideas, few problems.
Exactly. And little water, little patience, little luck.
But what's the difference between few and a few?
A few is positive. It means some. Few is negative. It means almost none.
So, I have a few friends means I'm happy, and I have few friends means I'm crying in a corner.
Yes, English grammar comes with emotional damage.
Good to know English isn't just confusing, it's also dramatic.
Very dramatic.
Now, tell me about in, on, and at for time. I always doubt.
Sure. In, months, years, seasons, long periods. In July, in 2024, in the morning. On, days, dates, on Monday, on March 1st. At, clock time or precise moments. At 7 p.m., at noon.
That's easier than I thought.
Most English rules are easy until you start speaking.
And for places?
In, big spaces, in Brazil, in the city, in the kitchen. On, surfaces, on the desk, on the wall. At, specific points, at the door, at the airport.
Why in a car but on a bus?
Because a car feels like a small room. A bus or train feels like a moving platform.
English is so weird, but I love it. Now explain another, other, and others.
Marco, another plus singular, another cup. Other plus plural or uncountable. Other ideas, other furniture. Others equals pronoun, no noun after. I prefer others.
So, can I have another pen? Do you have other colors? I like the others.
Perfect. What about too versus very? I use too a lot, maybe too much.
Good joke. Very is strong. Too is strong plus problem. So, very spicy means strong flavor, but too spicy means I can't eat it.
Exactly.
And so versus such?
So plus adjective, so big, so fast, so cold. Such plus noun, such a big house, such a good idea.
English likes patterns after all. And some versus any?
Some for positives, any for negatives and questions.
I have some tea. Do you have any tea?
Exactly.
Can we go over tricky uncountables?
Sure. Uncountable, advice, information, furniture, luggage, research, homework.
I used to say advices, informations, and furnitures.
Never again.
Articles also confuse me.
Quick rule. An equals one, not specific. And before vowel sound, an umbrella, an hour. A before consonant sound, a university. The equals specific or unique.
So I bought a book, then later, the book is great.
Exactly.
Honestly, I feel more confident now.
Good. Consistency builds confidence.
I'll practice these differences every day until they feel automatic.
Perfect plan.
Thanks, Marco. You're a grammar lifesaver.
Anytime, Nina. Let's practice again tomorrow.
Deal. Next time, I'll bring a lot of questions, not much questions.
That's the spirit.
Brian, that conversation between Nina and Marco was full of common mistakes. I think students will really connect with it.
Definitely. And right at the beginning, Nina said something very real. She knows the rule for much and many, but when she speaks, everything disappears from her brain.
Yes, and Marco explained it well. He reminded her that the rule is simple on paper, but harder in real-life conversations. I liked how he showed examples instead of just repeating the rule. Many people, many ideas, much time, much water.
Exactly. And then he told her something very useful. A lot of works with both countable and uncountable nouns. That's a great tip. Learners can use it when they feel unsure, and it still sounds natural.
I also loved when Nina said she hears native speakers saying so much people and gets confused. That happens to many students. Marco handled it well by explaining that native speakers make mistakes too, especially when they're speaking fast.
Yes, that part is important. Students often think native speech is perfect, but it isn't. Marco made it clear. Even if people say it, the correct form is still so many people.
Then they moved into few and little, which is another classic problem. I really liked how Marco connected meaning to emotion. When he said a few friends feels positive and few friends feels negative, it made everything easier.
True, and it helps students remember the difference. The same idea works with a little and little. A little time is hopeful. Little time feels stressful.
Speaking of stressful, they also talked about less and fewer. That one confuses even advanced speakers.
Yes, but Marco kept it simple. Fewer for countable, less for uncountable. And then Nina mentioned supermarket signs like 10 items or less, which is technically wrong, but extremely common. It reassures students that real English isn't always perfect.
Then they went into sense and for, which I think Marco explained very clearly. Sense for the starting point, for the duration. Short, direct, and very practical.
And he also reminded her that we usually use present perfect with those expressions. That detail helps learners create natural sentences like, I have lived here since 2021.
After that, they talked about in, on, and at, both in time and place. I liked how Marco simplified the whole thing. In for big areas or long periods, on for specific days or surfaces, at for exact points.
Yes, and Nina asked a great question. Why in a car, but on a bus? Marco's explanation about enclosed space versus open platform was very helpful.
They also mentioned tricky uncountable nouns like information, advice, furniture, luggage, and homework. Many learners try to pluralize these words, but Marco made it clear that they never take plural.
Right, you can say some advice or a piece of advice, but never advices. It's one of those little mistakes that students repeat for years because no one explains it clearly.
Another part I liked was the explanation of another, other, and others. Marco broke it into 3 simple rules: another with singular, other with plural, and others alone.
And Nina repeated it perfectly. Another idea, other ideas, I prefer others.
That repetition really helps. Then they talked about to and very. Marco made a point that I always teach: very is strong, but to means there's a problem.
Yes, like very spicy versus too spicy to eat. That difference is clear and easy to apply.
The same clarity happened with so and such. So plus adjective, such plus noun. Simple and powerful.
And later they discussed already, yet, and still, which many students find confusing. But Marco gave perfect examples. I've already eaten, I haven't eaten yet, I'm still hungry.
That also covered some versus any. It's a small rule, but it appears constantly in everyday English. Marco explained some in positive sentences, any in questions and negatives.
I also liked the part about transportation. Many learners say in the bus, but Marco corrected it. We say on the bus, on the plane, on the train, but in a car.
Yes, because a car feels like a small room, while a bus feels like a big platform. That comparison makes it easier to remember. Brian, before we move on, I think it's important to highlight some words and expressions that appeared in the dialogue. These terms can make a big difference in everyday English.
I agree. The vocabulary in the dialogue is simple but extremely useful. Let's choose a few essential words that Marco explained to Nina.
The first word is countable. A lot of students learn this term but don't fully understand what it means.
Right. Countable means something you can count individually, like chairs, apples, books, mistakes. If you can say 1, 2, 3, then the noun is countable.
And uncountable is the opposite. Things you cannot divide into individual units: water, time, sugar, money, information.
Another important word is duration. Marco used it when explaining for.
Duration simply means how long something lasts. I also liked the term starting point, which he used for since.
It's the moment when something began, a date, a year, a moment in time.
Another useful word is surface. Marco used it to explain on.
A surface is something flat, the table, the wall, the floor.
A great word from the dialogue is platform, which Marco mentioned when talking about buses and trains. He said a bus feels like a platform, which is why we say on the bus.
That kind of imagery helps a lot. Another keyword is pronoun. He used it when explaining others.
A pronoun replaces a noun, which is why others doesn't need a noun after it.
And an important word for all learners is context. Marco is always showing that you learn from rules, but you understand through context. That makes everything easier.
And of course, there's an expression Nina used several times: I get confused.
This is a natural way to say something makes you uncertain.
Great expression. People use it all the time.
Now let's move into the cultural part, because everything Nina and Marco discussed is connected to real-life communication in English-speaking countries.
Definitely. For example, when Nina said she heard native speakers say so much people, that's cultural. In fast conversations, people often ignore grammar rules.
Exactly. Spoken English is very flexible. In places like the United States and the United Kingdom, speed and natural flow are often more important than grammar accuracy.
Another cultural point is how common a lot of is. Even native speakers who know the rules of much and many use a lot of constantly because it sounds natural and easy.
And it sounds friendlier. Short, clipped words like much and many can sound more formal. A lot of feels neutral and works everywhere.
Another cultural detail was the supermarket sign, 10 items or less. Native speakers know it's technically wrong, but the phrase still appears everywhere. It shows that everyday English doesn't always follow textbook rules.
And it reminds learners that they don't need to speak perfectly. Communication comes first.
The part about transportation was also cultural. Saying on the bus or on the train is completely natural because, culturally, these places are seen as shared spaces.
And that explains why we say in a car. In English-speaking culture, a car is treated like a private space, almost like an extension of your home.
I also thought Marco's example, a piece of advice, was interesting. Culturally, English speakers love using a piece of before abstract words. It's a polite and clear way to count something uncountable.
Yes, you hear that a lot in everyday conversation. A piece of information, a piece of news, a piece of work.
Another cultural point from the dialogue is the gentle way Marco corrected Nina. In English-speaking countries, teachers and friends usually correct you indirectly. They rarely say wrong. They just repeat the correct form naturally.
I noticed that too. Instead of saying you're wrong, he says the correct form is. That's part of polite communication in English.
And maybe the strongest cultural message in the whole conversation is this idea: English doesn't have to be perfect. Native speakers value clarity and confidence more than perfect grammar.
Yes, and that attitude appears when Marco says even native speakers make mistakes. That's absolutely true.
In other words, learning English also means understanding how people actually speak, not just how the rules are written.
Exactly. When you learn the culture, you become much more natural in your communication.
Brian, now that we explained the grammar, I think students need practical examples. Not just lists, but real sentences they can use every day.
I agree. And let's do it the same way Marco helped Nina. Simple, clear, and connected to real life. Let's start with much, many, and a lot of, because that was Nina's biggest question.
1. Much, many, and a lot of.
Let me give you a natural sentence. I don't have much free time today. This one is perfect because free time is uncountable.
And a great example with many is, there are many reasons to practice English every day.
Reasons are countable, so many works.
And the most natural option in conversation is still a lot of, like, I saw a lot of people at the restaurant.
Right. A lot of works everywhere. When in doubt, use it.
1. Much, many, and a lot of.
2. A few, few, a little, little. Now let's move to a few, a little, and little. This is where meaning really changes.
Yes, for example, I have a few ideas.
That sounds positive.
And I have few ideas today.
That feels negative, almost like you're stuck.
Same with a little time versus little time.
A little time means there's enough.
Little time means almost none.
3. Less, fewer.
Students loved when Marco explained less and fewer. It's simple. Countable, fewer. Uncountable, less.
Exactly. Natural examples. I want to make fewer mistakes this year.
I drink less coffee now.
4. Since, for. Since and for are important because people use them constantly in daily conversation. I've lived here since 2020.
I've studied English for 3 years.
And I love sentences like, we've been friends for a long time. Simple and natural. Let me test you. I've worked here last January.
Since last January.
And I've worked here 8 months.
For 8 months.
5. In, on, at.
Time and place.
Marco also gave great examples for in, on, and at. In July, on Monday, at 8 p.m.
And for places. She lives in Brazil.
The keys are on the table. I'm waiting at the entrance. 6. Another, other, others.
These ones confuse a lot of learners, but the pattern is simple. Another for one, other for plural, others alone as a pronoun.
For example, can I have another cup?
And do you have other questions?
And some people left, but others stayed. 7. To, very.
This part is always important. Very is strong. To is strong plus a problem.
Real examples. The soup is very hot.
The soup is too hot to eat.
And, Brian, choose the right one. This bag is too heavy to carry.
Too heavy, because there's a problem.
I think these examples make the grammar rules feel real. When you hear them in natural sentences, they become easier to remember.
Exactly. That's why Marco always gives Nina sentences she can picture in everyday situations. That's how grammar becomes fluency.
For anyone practicing at home, repeat these sentences out loud while listening. The more your mouth says them, the faster they become automatic.
And whenever you feel uncertain, remember what Marco told Nina. Use the simple, clear pattern first. With time, the rules become natural. Before we finish, let's do a quick review of today's lesson. Nina and Marco talked about a lot of small mistakes learners make and how to fix them.
Right. The first one was much and many. Many for countable things, much for uncountable. And remember, a lot of works with both.
Then they practiced a few versus few and a little versus little. The versions with A are positive, and the versions without A feel negative.
They also talked about less and fewer, since and for, and the basic rules for in, on, and at. All simple patterns that you can use every day.
These small details help your English sound clearer and more natural.
Our advice is simple. Listen to the dialogue again and repeat a few lines out loud. That's how these structures become automatic.
And we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, which mistake from today's episode do you make the most?
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes.
Keep practicing. Every day makes a difference.
See you in the next lesson.